Welcome to another edition of Behind the Numbers. Week 1's in the books, boys, so let's go ahead and update the power poll. So there's been an outcry lately in the league for a predictions column. Prediction columns are done. No one's doing them anymore. We used to have 2 prediction columns. Now we have none. Nobody does predictions. Look, everybody does predictions. All 10 teams get to do predictions. Predictions have lost their novelty effect. They're not the entertainment they once were. They are tired, they are old, and they are played. So in those ways, they're much like Chris's mom. Sorry, that was just too easy. But the fact of the matter is, Behind the Numbers, we try to bring you the best, the cutting edge, the newest entertainment in fantasy football, and that's what we're dedicated to doing. That being said, we always want to appeal to our fans. So Jimmy Wilson, Chris Norris, congratulations. This week, your cries have been heard. Predictions will be done. So let's go ahead and cut to the games. All right, let's go to game 1. It's the Commish versus This Is Our Country. Well, we'll have to start with Umflett's weak wide receiving core again. I'm sorry, but when Santonio Holmes is number 2 wide receiver on Pittsburgh and he's number 1 on your fantasy team, that's a bad sign. I'm not thinking that Arnaz Battle is necessarily going to get a rushing touchdown every week either. And Devery Henderson? Who is Devery Henderson? Maybe we should ask Drew Brees. I'm not sure he knows. Anyway, Willis McGahee, I want to believe in Willis McGahee, but he didn't look that good last week against the vaunted Bengals defense. And he lost Jonathan Ogden, his top run blocker. That's not looking good. And Chicago's defense is not the fantasy point scoring monster it once was. Over on the Commish side, Jimmy is really worried. He can't really hide it. He's worried. He's been down this road before. I haven't seen the Commish this worried in week 1 since, last year in week 1, basically. But congratulations, you basically drafted my team from last year. You got Chad Johnson and Lee Evans. Welcome to my world. 1 week they get 250 yards, then next week they get 5. Now Lee Evans, he's not obviously going against the team he was last week. So that's not going to be quite the same problem. Champ Bailey, Dre Bly are a little better than Deshae Townsend and Ike Taylor, but he's still facing the Pittsburgh defense, and that could be a problem. Clinton Portis, can he step in for Brandon Jacobs? Well, hopefully he can make it more than 2 plays. So if he can get more than 20-something yards, that's great. He's supposed to be recovering from injury, but as we know, Portis can go down at any point with an injury. And hopefully Vernon Davis remembers how to play football. Jay Cutler going against Oakland, not the easiest pass defense in the world, so that could be a problem. Overall, I don't really love either of these teams this week. I just don't see the Commish losing to Umflett, and I don't see him losing 2 weeks in a row. I think that he's going to try to get something going. But don't get me wrong, he's worried. And that's why I'm dedicating this song to the Commish.
Don't stop believing.
So the second game of the week pits Jeff and AJ, 2 1-0 teams squaring off to see who can remain undefeated. John Kitna, I see a pick coming back. Minnesota's already run 2 picks back courtesy of one Joey Harrington. I see another one coming this week. I love Terrell Owens. I think the dude really could go for 20 touchdowns this year. Calvin Johnson's going to be big. Hopefully going to get that double scoring. I do not like Larry Johnson, particularly against Chicago. Edgerrin James, I don't care if your coach is wearing a suit. I don't care if he's an offensive genius. Ken Wisenhunt, Russ Grimm, I love those guys. I think I have all the respect in the world for them, but they can't block, and neither can the Arizona line. Jeremy Shockey, you must have missed the memo. Last week you were supposed to get hurt. Eli Manning, Brandon Jacobs both went down. Usually you're the first one on that train. I'm surprised you missed that. Tom Brady, like him. Don't like him as much as last week. Now he's going against San Diego, but I see Larry Fitzgerald bouncing back. Lavernius Coles will never catch 2 touchdowns in the same week again. If he wants to score fantasy points, he better line up as a quarterback this week because Kellen Clemens ain't getting him the ball. I like Westbrook. I think Philly really needs a win. He's going to step up. Bush bounces back. Todd Heap, if you're going to go in the 6th round, you really need to grab touchdowns that are thrown right at you. And Shane Graham, well, hopefully he'll play the whole week. I like AJ. I think he's going to go to 2-0, and the rookie's going to be cruising after this week. Third game of the week, we've got the Crabs against the Journeymen. Brandon lost in a heartbreaker last week. Eli Manning also went down after getting 32 points. Obviously, that wasn't enough against Billy's 9 touchdowns. Now he's got to go with Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is going to be a 0 or 1 touchdown guy more weeks than he won't be. That's going to be a problem for you if you have to go with him for a long time. Torrey Holt, I think, is going to be fine. Javon Walker, Anquan Bolden will bounce back. Frank Gore, Carolina put up a pretty impressive rushing total against St. Louis last week. I see Frank Gore as a fantasy beast this week. Same thing with McAllister. He's going to bounce back. Pittsburgh's D is always going to be fine. He's going to put up a solid number, probably somewhere in the 90s. Carson Palmer for Chris, I think is going to be great. Randy Moss, looking like a good pick right about now. Everybody tried to joke on him, but hey, Chris did something smart there. Unfortunately, for every smart thing he does something equally as dumb or possibly even dumber. Ronnie Brown, yeah, that's not looking like such a good pick right now. Luckily, Shaun Alexander looks like he can play like 2 running backs as he did a few years ago. That could help you. I see you getting a high number this week, probably somewhere in the upper 80s, but it's just not going to quite be enough. I don't see anybody keeping the former champion off the board 2 straight weeks. So I'm going to go with Brandon this game. So the next game pits the second rookie, Billy, against Overbay. Billy was forced to sit down the New England Patriots D this week after allegations surfaced that the evil Lord Darth Hoodie has been stealing signs for possibly what could be years. How pissed are you right now, Panther fan? You know he was probably doing that junk during the Super Bowl, and that might have cost you a win and a ring. By the way, why were you playing the Patriots D? They were already without Rodney Harrison, who may win Stupid Criminal of the Week for his involvement in the HGH online pharmacy scandal. That's right, they found his name, address, and telephone number along with it. Rodney, Evan Field thinks your disguise sucked. Ron Mexico was stealthier than you were. You might need to get a pseudonym if you're going to order HGH on the internet, alright? As far as the game goes, I think we've already seen the best performances that we're going to get this year out of Tony Romo, Plaxico Burress, and Jason Witten. It's got to worry you a little bit if you're Billy. And I see a bounce-back week for Overbay. Matt Hasselbeck, you might want to be introduced to your number 1 wide receiver. His name's Deion Branch. I know this is a crazy concept, but you might actually want to throw to him every once in a while. I'd be a little bit worried about Lawrence Maroney. I'm not so sure he's going to get those goal line carries after Heath Evans vultured a TD from him last week, but I think Joseph Addai is going to be enough to carry the load for you. I see Overbay winning this week, and the rookie coming back down to earth. But this is the game of the week. Pitting myself against the Institute. Yes, I am 0 for my last 6 against the Institute. I haven't beaten him in like 3 years. I'm surprised he hasn't trumpeted this fact. It's probably because he's a little bit worried. And I'd be worried too, because guess what? Andre Johnson, Ronald Curry, they don't get to play the Chiefs and the Lions every week, and they're not going to consistently outperform your running backs. That's just not going to happen. Cedric Benson and Amon Green, yeah, they suck just as much as advertised. Now, of course, Manning, Smith, and Gates, they're going to be fine. They're going to be great this year. No one can take that away from you, but that's not going to be enough to win week in and week out. I'm sorry, that's just not going to work. Donovan McNabb and Reggie Brown, I see a bounce-back week for them. I see them getting reacquainted on Monday night to propel me to a nice little victory. LaDainian Tomlinson is going to be LaDainian Tomlinson. Maurice Jones-Drew, he can't be nearly as terrible as he was last week. Harrison and Clark are going to steal Manning's touchdowns, and the Cincy defense is going to punish the Browns. I definitely see myself winning for the first time in 7 tries and getting back on the winning track this year. Well, that's about it for the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week. I am out.